This is the video notes that goes with our guided notes graphing systems of linear inequalities. This is part 3 where we're going to look at examples 9 through 11. Okay, so 9 through 11 are systems that are given to us in standard form. So the first thing we have to do is solve and put it for y and put them in slope-intercept form and then graph them just like we did with examples 5 through 8. So let's go ahead and start with number 9. All right, our first equation right here, 3x minus 4y is less than negative 12. We know we're going to subtract the x term first, so we're going to have negative 4y is less than negative 3x minus 12. We're going to divide by the negative 4. So we're going to have y. Now when we divide by negative, that less than flips to become a greater than. And that's going to be positive 3/4 x plus 3. Okay, just watch your negative signs. There's your dividing. Now on my second one over here, I subtract the 3x. So what I'm going to have is 4y is greater than negative 3x. Then I'm going to divide by the 4. So y is greater than negative 3/4 x. Okay, now there's our two inequalities to graph. So let's graph those. So let me see the graph paper a little bit better. Now, our first line starts at 3. Our slope is up 3 and to the right 4. That's going to really get us off the graph paper up here. But you know what? I can also do down and to the left, can I? I can go down 3 and to the right 4 right here. Now, that's a dotted line, and I only got those 3 little points so spread out. Then I'm going to lay my ruler down right here, and I'm going to add some dots or dashes in between so I can see my line better. Just like that. A little dash down there. There. Okay. Now, that's my first one. Now, let's do our second one. Our second line starts at 0. Our slope is down 3 and right 4. So 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Can't do it again because I run out of paper. I can back it up though and go up 3, 1, 2, 3, and to the left 4, 3, 4 right here. So I have 3 dots. Again, that's a dotted line, but those dots are so far apart, we'll never see that. So we're going to lay our ruler down again, and we're going to put some little add some dots or dashes. I do dashes because I'm going to right along the ruler. Makes it easy. There we go. Now, again, we just need to decide which one of our 4 regions, 1, 2, 3, or 4, top, bottom, right, or left, are we going to shade. So that comes from our inequality. Now, this positive line was our first one, and we're greater than. So that means I got to be up here above it. So it's either one of these 2 regions where my fingers is bopping up and down. The second line says I'm also above it, okay? So to be above this second line right here, I have to be in this little region at the top. Now think about that. That's greater than and greater than. Wouldn't it make sense to be the region at the top? So everything's greater than, this thing could be at the top. There we go. And we're done. Now, let's make sure you got everything copied. Pause it if you need to, and then we'll do number 10. Okay? Number 10, same thought process. It's just some numbers, and we got some minuses and negatives still mixed in here to help us practice and remind us of things we need to remember. So the first one, I have negative 2x. Now, we don't have too many of those with a negative. So if it's negative 2x, that means I'm actually going to add it. So I'm going to have negative 1y. I'm putting my 1 placeholder right there. It's going to be less than or equal to positive 2x plus 3. Now, when I see the -1 right there, that reminds me I'm dividing by negative. So I've got y. Flip your inequality because you're dividing by the negative. 2 divided by -1 is -2x. 3 divided by -1 is -3. Okay? Now, let's do our second equation. Subtract the x's, and if you want to put your 1 placeholders there, you can. So I've got -1y greater than or equal to -1x plus 2. When I divide by the -1, that inequality flips. -1 divided by -1 is just 1, so that's x. 2 divided by -1 is -2. Okay, now let's start graphing. We start the first line at -3 down here. The slope is down 2, right 1. Back it up to left 1, up to left 1, up to left 1, up to left 1. Okay? Now, solid line, so I can lay my ruler down right here and connect it and put my arrow. Now, my second line right there is going to start at -2 right here. The slope is 1 over 1, so it's up 1, right 1. I can back that up. That's also a solid line, so we'll lay it down and we'll connect our dots, connect our points. Okay. And so I love those solid lines so you can really see the 4 regions good. Now let's talk about our regions. This is our first line right here, and we have to be greater than it. So to be greater than that line, we're actually going to be above it. So this part I just covered up, we can't use. Then this second line right here, we got to be below it. So what does that mean? That means we're shading in this region right here. There we go. Okay. Now, make sure you finish copying example 10. Okay, make sure you got number 10 and number 9 both copied, and we'll go to number 11. All right, number 11 is a fun one. It actually has 3 inequalities. Okay, because you can always do more than 2, so it's a little entertaining here. Now, if I notice my first 2 inequalities, I don't have to do anything with it. I just got to graph them. There's no solving. So x is greater than 4. So that, remember, x is vertical, and it's a dotted line. So I'm going to +4 on the x-axis, and I'm going to make my positive line right here. Okay. The second inequality, there's nothing to do for it. Y is less than 3. So here we go. Again, that's a dotted line. There we go. Now our third line though, we need to put in there, we got to do some solving. So let's say 2x minus 2y is less than -4. And let's just solve for y. So 2x less than -2x minus 4. When I divide, I get y is greater than x plus 2. Okay, so if I start this one, it starts at 2. It's going to go up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1, up 1, right 1. I'm also can go backwards. Well, there's a lot of dots and lots of lines in there. So let's see if we can keep this straight. Our first inequality says x has to be less than 4. So what that tells me is I have to be to the left side of my x line. So what I'm doing, remember, just covering up what I can't use. All right. My second inequality says that y is less than 3. So what that means is I can't be above that horizontal line. So I can only look at this region right here, which means I'm either going to shade this area right here or this area right here. Oh, now hold on. Let me peek under here because I covered it up, didn't I? Our inequality right here says that it is greater than. So let's put this back. This line right here. I got to be greater than that line, so I got to be above it. So to be above it, I got to be in this little area right here. There we go. Okay. Now, let's pull this back so you can see the whole big picture. Now, make sure you've got number 11 copied and get these notes put into your interactive notebook. And you know the next line. Go to Canvas and work on your assignment.